We caught you, mate. We caught you. We caught you.
But unfortunately, there's only so much we can do.
And when they turn up, they tell us that they can't arrest a man because of it's only trespassing.
Where third worldism kind of strikes again. We had an individual break into a blind woman's house, and according to local residents, he's now been moved into a hotel in Newham.
The true horror of the hell being unleashed by illegal migrants operating criminal rings out of luxury hotels paid for by you and me is only being exposed thanks to the independent media. The political establishment and MSM, they believe that not talking about the consequences of the daily invasion via our southern border and trumpeting stats which deludedly claim everything is great, that will stop the growing uprising against the betrayal of our borders and the Britain we love. I don't think so. Because yesterday, yet another migrant, 32-year-old Mohammed Shawak from Syria, was arrested from the Bell Hotel in Epping, Essex, and swiftly charged for sexual assault alleged to have been committed just days ago. But 9 times out of 10, these criminal networks are getting away with their appalling behaviour. Which brings me to the horrifying scenes at the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf, recently converted into a migrant hotel, causing chaos and carnage for locals, as this demonic-looking resident decided to show himself into the house of a female said to be elderly and blind.
This is the guy. This is him. He just tried to walk into a girl's house on the IOD. We watched her chase him. Now he's trying to cover his face. Look.
Please. We caught you, mate. We caught you. We caught you.
Now, brilliant independent journalist Jack Hadfield, he was soon on the scene. He posted a photo from a local resident in the Canary Wharf area of a man seemingly wearing the same clothes as the alleged home invader near the Britannia Hotel today. The local told him they reported another attempted home invasion to the police. And so how can we have any faith in our justice system when those police refuse to take action? Basil the Great posted, "Are you actually joking? An illegal migrant enters a woman's home and then leaves and walks away. Locals apprehended him and called the police. The police say they can't arrest him because he didn't steal anything. What is wrong with you?" And that actually happened. Watch.
This man in this vehicle has just entered a lady's property without her consent, and these officers have said it's not an offence. They're letting him go. They're letting him go. Officer, how is that not an offence? How is it not an offence entering someone's house?
That poor lady, anyway.
Regardless, she didn't want him in the house.
Is alarm fear and discretion?
Lady, bro.
Is alarm fear and discretion offence? Is she not alarmed even in fear?
You're letting him go.
Let him go. He's allowed to do that.
He's
allowed to do that.
Guys are quite unhappy about the
100%.
streets, but we have no allegation to arrest them for. Okay? I understand that that's not something you want to hear, but unfortunately, there's only so much we can do, and obviously, she's the main person that, and she doesn't want to press charges.
She does want to press charges. She just said to me. What's the alleged offence? Sorry, everybody. Could you make some space, please? By entering someone's house, come through. That's a lot more than trespassing. Trespass. So if I went into someone's house, you'd do me for burglary. There's suspicion of burglary, yes. Sorry, buddy. Trying to make it. They're going to release it. It's starting. Release it. We've let him go about his business. But then when you enter people's houses, that's a different story. Trespass is part.
Good Lord, so that Axel Rudagabana lookalike is just patrolling the street because the police let him go. Tommy Robinson furious about this. pleading directly with Slippery Starmer. He wrote, "Illegal immigrant staying at the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf has broken into a lady's home in broad daylight. How much more are we supposed to take, Keir Starmer? Get them out of our country." Now, locals Dean and Richie, who were involved in apprehending the illegal, expressed the growing frustration on the ground that so many of us feel. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favour, click the subscribe button now, turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos.
We then detain him, we don't touch him, we phone the police and we say to the police, like, come down, this is what's happened. They turn up. Once they turn up, this is where the two-tier policing comes into play. They turn up, and when they turn up, they tell us that they can't arrest a man because of it's only trespassing. He didn't say anything, he didn't want to touch anything in their property, which they don't know because of the girl managed to get him out of her property. They put the man in their vehicle and drive him to return him to the Britannia Hotel on the Isle of Dogs, Canary Wharf. We then get down there, and then when we get down there, that's where all the two-tier policing starts. They say they can't arrest a man through trespassing not being a criminal offence, a civil matter.
What's he doing in there?
What's he doing in the property in the first place? What's his intentions of going into their house? And then once we get down there, they then started issuing, what was it?
Section 35 got done for. So the old bill said you've got to leave the property and you can't come back till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Now, this is going on multiple times every day in cities up and down this country. Indeed, we only know about this particular incident at all because of citizen and independent journalists like Young Bob.
Inside the Britannia Hotel, where third worldism kind of strikes again, we had an individual break into a blind woman's house, and according to local residents, he's now been moved into a hotel in Newham. So this kind of demonstrates that firstly, the British public have now become emotionally unimpressed by people taking advantage of British citizens, and secondly, protests will continue to spark out in response to events like this, and of course the police will just continually Section 35 them. So it demonstrates an incompetency by the police and also an incompetency in terms of migration.
Of course, there hasn't been a word, not a single word from London's failed Mayor Sadiq Khan, but his Tory rival Susan Hall did challenge him last night, writing, "Attention, Sadiq Khan, we don't want these hotels in London. Look what's happening here. I know details about this because locals let me know. This incident must be dealt with appropriately. I would suggest that it's wrong for people to enter property without being invited." But as for the Met Police, Sadiq Khan's Met Police, their response was yet again clear as mud, as they claimed, "We understand a man entered a property through an open door, having been followed by a group of men in the street. The man has not been arrested at this time, as our initial investigation has not identified any offences. We understand this is distressing for the occupants. No sugar, Sherlock. This is a complex set of events and we are working hard to investigate and understand what happened. Reviewing officers' body-worn video footage." Okay, two things here. No eyewitnesses said there were any group of men following this illegal. And can I just be clear? Are we seriously saying that in the new lawless Britain, it is acceptable to enter somebody's house? This is insane. I mean, what's going on in London, by the way, is increasingly lawless, as the men who attacked Orthodox Jews with water pistols, they've got let off, of course, just with a slap on the wrist. I think this was awful, actually. Watch this. Group that isn't trendy. Sadiq Khan, again, doesn't give it a damn. Now, given the increasing presence of Antifa and the hard left, I have to say, it's hard not to feel huge empathy with this Tommy Robinson supporter.
Yeah, and I calls him no egg, just taking pictures, and he wants to come over and take the piss out my sign. My daughter goes to school there, and I don't want none of this shit round here no more. Fucking done with it. I'm out the East End, used to have my front door open, you to come on, Ben, nilly.
Get in
Look
there.
what I'm fucking putting up with. Look at this. Should I play the fucking birthday music? What is this? What is this, lads?
Antifa like, mate.
What is this?
We don't need it, do we?
I'm not racist, nothing at all. I want an easy life for my children and everyone. Show me who you are and you're welcome here. Right or wrong?
100%, mate.
And I've got to get his there once they started ever around me.
Yeah.
I said done fuck all wrong. We love Tommy Robinson! Tommy Robinson! Tommy Robinson! There's only one Tommy Robinson! One Tommy Robinson! There's only one Tommy Robinson! One Tommy Robinson! There's only one Tommy Robinson! One Tommy Robinson! There's only one Tommy
I understand his anger. I totally get it. I mean, there he is saying, look, my street's been destroyed. My kids aren't safe. It's just awful. It's just awful. And those Antifa thugs have zero sympathy. There was a rare victory last night, though, in Waterlooville, prompting Suella Braverman to make history, becoming the first sitting MP to speak at an anti-migrant hotel protest. And as Tommy Robinson pointed out, Nigel Farage and Reform UK have actually banned their councillors and MPs from attending and supporting. Now, I wanted to share with you Suella's words to the independent journalist Jack Hadders, which were inspiring, but I think also show the challenge we're facing ahead. But first, let's be honest, you're watching this because you know the mainstream media can't be trusted anymore. The so-called fact checkers, they're just part of the same corrupt club. And who can forget the scandals they helped cover up or spin? Brexit lies, the COVID chaos, the relentless smears against Donald Trump. Well, I've had enough of being misled. That's why I've turned to Ground News, today's sponsor. It's the one place I go to slice through the spin, cut out the noise, and finally see the truth for myself. Go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out for yourself. My favourite feature is the blind spot feed. It shows you which stories are blowing up on one side of politics but barely mentioned on the other, the clearest way to see media bias in action. So let me show you a story the left is ignoring. The terrorist mastermind of the 7/7 attacks could soon be back on London streets despite police fears. You'd think this would be a huge story everywhere, right? But left-leaning outlets have barely touched it. And what about on the right? Well, the UK Chancellor says the government is back in Scotland with billions in investment. It's a massive funding pledge, yet it's barely been covered by right-leaning media. With every story, Ground News shows you the entire spectrum of who's reporting from left, right, and centre, along with how reliable each source is and who owns each outlet. It's everything the corporate press doesn't want you to see. I know you love keeping up with the news, but like me, you don't buy what the legacy media are selling. So this gives you the tools for yourself to see what's really going on without the spin, without the manipulation, and without being told what to think. It's the only way I read the news now, and clearly many of you agree, as Ground News has over 10,000 five-star reviews. So go to ground.news/outspoken and stop letting the mainstream media decide the truth for you. If you subscribe through my link, you'll get 40% off the Vantage plan. That's the one I personally use for unlimited access. Supporting Ground News also supports Outspoken, so thank you for helping me keep doing what I am doing here too. That's ground.news/outspoken. But now, back to the show.
Here with Suella Braverman now outside of Waterlooville. Obviously today has been quite a victory protest, a victory rally, obviously with the migrants not being housed in the NGO just above the shop here. But obviously the Home Office has said, obviously in response to your petition, in response to this, that they still are seeking to house asylum seekers, legal migrants in your constituency. So what can people do? Because obviously you can protest one place, they might shut it down, they might cancel the plans there, but they'll just move somewhere else. So what should be the end game? What can everyone here who's concerned about what's happening to their wives, their girls, their daughters, their sisters, what can the British people do to actually solve the problem?
I agree. Unfortunately, this is not the end of the story. And whilst today we've got a temporary reprieve and there's a mood of celebration, rightly amongst the people of Waterlooville, because we've stopped these particular plans, there's no guarantee that this is the end. So there will probably be more attempts by the Home Office to place asylum seekers and illegal migrants in the district. We have to be vigilant. We have to be. It was thanks to local Conservative councillors who blew the whistle that these plans got stopped. And we just have to hope that that exposure happens again. The council is held to account. There is there's transparency, and everybody knows what's happening, because I think when there's knowledge, people have power, and people have spoken with their feet in their thousands in Waterloo. We've never seen anything like this in Waterlooville as far as I've known Waterlooville, and this is historic, and so people can really make a difference when they abide by the law and they voice their concerns peacefully but respectfully.
And so a quick one, what would you say to everybody else in the country who are at these migrant protests, 20 or so different cities? What would you say to them now that we've had the success here?
I'd say keep speaking, keep standing up for our country, and keep fighting peacefully and within the law. Keep fighting for the country that we love.
I found that really inspiring, actually. Then, of course, there's the forgotten front, the French migrant camps, which two of Suella's Tory colleagues are helping to expose. Now, I get that this is ironic, right? I get this is ironic. You don't have to tell me. I do not support the Conservative Party after what they did. I understand they are largely responsible for this mess, but I still credit this specific work. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Phil revealing that he just had a knife pulled in the new jungle camp by Dunkirk and was then pelted with bottles while trying to speak to migrants.
I have family here.
Chris, we just had a guy walk behind us with a rather large knife.
Do you need to go?
Okay.
So it turns out someone's walked by with a large knife, so we're going to move.
Yeah, and at the end of that, I mean, obviously we had to leave quickly because someone pulled a knife.
I found it pretty shocking. Yeah, we're talking to that guy, didn't want to show us his face, and I was concentrating on that, and then you said that behind me somebody had walked past and pulled out some kind of machete. So yeah, we left pretty quickly.
Swinging it around in the air like that. I mean, it was clearly he was doing it to send a message to the other people. Yeah, to the other people there. So whether it was a case of don't speak. I mean, the other thing that I would just point out is we spoke to the one gentleman there. There was another couple of guys that we saw that were carrying brand new life jackets. Yeah. They refused to answer any real questions about that. I mean, the guy gave you a story about that he was from Afghanistan.
So quite clearly, they're planning to cross the channel illegally. And I said to him, that's illegal. And he said, I don't care. I mean, he was completely up.
Well, right,
okay, let's go. We've got to go.
Did you see that literally being bottled? And these are the people who are invading our country every single day. Also there, Shadow Justice Secretary, as I describe him, the spiritual leader of the New Conservatives, Robert Jenrick, who posted, I was in northern France last Saturday to Monday. 1,190 migrants crossed the channel in that time alone. Is it any surprise when this is how easy the French make it to break in? Britain's being scammed. Watch.
I've just spent 48 hours in northern France. I wanted to see what's going on up close.
I'm Robert, I'm from England. Why do you want to go to England?
English. We're told these are refugees, fleeing danger. But that's not what I found.
And by the way, when he called the police and actually said, this is what I've found, that they're about to head off from Dunkirk, do you think anyone turned up like hell they did? There are so many stark and chilling warnings about the hell the UK is facing without urgent change. And I think perhaps most shocking is the brilliant Ayaan Hirsi Ali telling us overnight that Britain is turning into Somalia. As Stephen Edgington, who interviewed her, pointed out, she knows what that means. A clan mentality, radical Islam, backward views, and the oppression of women. Rather than integrating such migrants, she warns those migrants are transforming Britain into their own culture. You must listen to her warning.
So do you fear, just very briefly, the West is sort of becoming more like Somalia rather than the other way around?
Well, if you look at the demographic changes, yes, because more and more people, like the Somali clans, are coming here and establishing themselves here, and they are being told you can have, the welfare state, whatever it offers you, you can have it. You don't have to give anything in return. The Westerners are not having babies themselves. And then there's the Muslim Brotherhood. So there's that other layer, which I was telling you, that complex, which is explicitly telling Muslim immigrants, do not assimilate, do not adopt the values of the West. So we have a cocktail of problems. We have a cocktail of expectations of the immigrant, clan immigrant, the Muslim immigrant versus the white nation state host society that are all at crossroads with one another. And the way out of it is to have these honest, open discussions. People are not being asked to give up their clans. But if you come to England, if you come to, we're in Hungary now, if you come to America, this is how we live with one. Here are the rules. I talked a little bit about, please give me 1 second because it's so important to me. The way men behave towards women is now becoming the most manifest problem in Europe. You cannot walk the streets without, I feel safe in Hungary, I feel safe in Jerusalem, I don't feel safe in Paris, Berlin, Amsterdam, London. That is crazy. We're sacrificing girls and women at the altar of what? Because what is it atonement? I mean, I've talked to so many different people who try and give me an explanation of why the host societies are behaving in the ways that they behave.
We are sacrificing our women and girls. So what is there to do? We'll certainly take inspiration from the Pink Ladies, who are planning a massive day of action on Wednesday, the 1st of October. With that and Tommy's Uniting the Kingdom rally next month, I would argue that soon, Slippery Starmer won't be able to avoid the rising levels of anger about what he is doing to our country. Now, the Superstar panel. Neil and Christine Hamilton with me. Christine, how utterly shocking were those scenes outside the Britannia Hotel, this new migrant hotel in Canary Wharf last night, where we're now told that this little Axel Rudicabana lookalike, I don't know the guy, but he looked demonic to me, can literally enter the home of a blind elderly woman and not be arrested. It's nuts. What is happening?
Well, you're quite right. I mean, I am.
Look at him, Christine.
I know.
Imagine if he was in your home.
I don't want to look at him, thank you very much. And you're absolutely right. He does look like Axel, whatever. I was happily minding my own business in the vegetable garden, and I came in to get ready for you, and I have now gone into such a deep depression, one thing after another. It's not that I didn't know that this sort of stuff was happening. Neil will be the one to tell you the law. As I understand it, the critical fact is that her door was open. He didn't even have to open the door. No, Neil is shaking his head. But, oh no, that is Axel Rudicabana,
That
isn't
is.
it?
They look so similar.
Oh, don't. Honestly,
it's chilling. But there's so many of these people. Okay, Neil, so is that true? Is that true? If your door is open, someone can walk in and not be arrested?
No, of course it isn't. The fact that your door is open doesn't mean it's an invitation to the world at large to come in without your permission. And there's such a thing as criminal trespass. It's true what the police said, that a civil trespass obviously isn't something for which you can be arrested. But if the manner in which you conduct yourself is such as to inspire fear or distress in the person who is inside the house, then that is one of the ingredients of criminal trespass. And they could certainly have arrested him for that, in my opinion, at least for questioning and further investigation. You know, what we're seeing in those dreadful scenes which you showed is the disintegration of our culture and indeed of our nation. And this is something which governments in recent decades have deliberately chosen to bring about, because we know that as far as the Labour Party is concerned, they don't really believe in Britain anyway. They think that we should be ashamed of our past. They believe that we should have social disintegration by having, you know, a rainbow nation, people from all over the world, and with no single individual connection to bring us all together. And you know, that's the way in which countries disintegrate into chaos. And that's what we're seeing before our very eyes. We have a government that doesn't really believe in Britain. We have an opposition that doesn't believe in opposing. And so our parliament, which is supposed to be the grand chamber of the nation, in which our fears and hopes are vested, does absolutely nothing to protect us from the scenes that you've seen there. In fact, they've done everything possible to bring about. Now, the last Conservative government presided over the largest increase in immigration in the entire history of Britain. And as a result of Boris Johnson's appalling relaxations of our immigration laws, visa restrictions, etc., we increased our net migration to 750,000 a year of legal migrants, and now our illegal migrants are up to 50,000 a year. And 50,000 was what Enoch Powell was afraid of 50 or 60 years ago. It is famous so-called rivers of blood speech. At that time, the net migration to our country was only 50,000, and those were illegal migrants. Now the net migration is illegals, and the net migration of legals is many times that. So, British governments have deliberately presided over this mess, and the Treasury's view is that we need more and more immigration because that's the way the economy grows. But the economy may grow, but if you divide that by the number of people in the country, people are getting poorer year in and year out.
And our culture, Neil, I mean, it's being crushed. Christine, I mean, I know there's an irony, because I totally agree with everything Neil has just said about the Conservative government. At the same time, I did find Suella Braverman inspiring at Waterlooville. I wish all of our MPs could have the sort of bravery and balls of her. She's the first MP, Christine, to turn up to one of these migrant protests. Reform has actually banned. They've banned their politicians, their MPs, their councillors from attending.
But I mean, that to me is absurd. What does Reform stand for if it doesn't stand for standing up against this sort of nonsense? And as I understand it, I may be wrong, but Robert Jenrick, who showed his clips from his visit over to France, he did resign from the cabinet, didn't he? Because
As did Suella. As did Suella.
So I think people who say to Jenrick, oh, it was all your fault, he did do the honourable thing and resigned. But the other thing that annoyed, I mean, I may sound quite calm, but I'm actually not. I'm furious. The other thing is we are paying the French millions of pounds to do nothing. Surely we could see that they weren't going to do anything because it's not in their interest to do it. I mean, they are helping these people on their way to this country. And the people say, oh, but the birth rate amongst the indigenous Brits is declining, therefore we need all these immigrants. I'm sorry, but we don't. We don't need any more immigrants who are going to bring the wrong values, the wrong culture, the wrong heritage, the wrong everything into this country. We need more people who share our values and share the way we respect women and we respect the countryside, etc., etc. I mean, it's and that lady, by the way, who was blind and elderly, I mean, can you imagine how she felt? He may not have stolen anything from her, but what he has done is stolen her peace of mind and that of all sorts of other people who are in a similar position. If he can walk in there and get away with it. And the other thing that struck me, sorry to ramble on, but the average age of those police people was so young. And we don't have enough police any longer with experience. I can't now remember the statistics, but the statistics of the number of police who have less than 4 years experience is horrifying, absolutely horrifying. I mean, that guy should have been taken off for questioning. What the hell were you doing in her house? And don't you know that this isn't how you behave? He should have had a hell of a lesson, even if nothing could be done legally, as it were.
Yeah. Well, almost all police forces now are completely consumed by political correctness. Their chief constables are totally woke. In London, of course, it's probably worse than anywhere else because the police commissioner in London is Sadiq Khan himself.
Exactly. And we want to come to him. We want to come to him, actually, because that lying little goblin is really gaslighting us all about crime in London, and the left are all jumping on this bandwagon.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go wherever you are.